Struggling with intermittent fasting? Well, it's because you're making some very simple mistakes. Let's take these mistakes out of the equation, and intermittent fasting is going to be very easy for you. Hey Wellness Warrior, I'm Dr. Zyrowski. One of the first big mistakes that you may be making is omitting electrolytes. Now, if you've ever tried intermittent fasting and started to feel dizzy, lethargic, or even your heart was beating rapidly, you may be deficient in electrolytes. This is a very common problem. I've even been there before. When you fast, you still need electrolytes because they are responsible for things like your heartbeat, moving nutrients into your cells, balancing the water in your body, and many other crucial functions. Now, the main electrolytes that you need are going to be sodium, potassium, and also magnesium. Getting in some electrolytes can really help fuel your day and help ward off many of the negative side effects that you may feel when fasting. It's probably one of the top mistakes that you may be making. When you eat and drink, you get a good amount of electrolytes in your food. It makes sense that when you fast, you also may need to get some added in. Some signs to watch out for include irregular heartbeat, dizziness, fatigue, headaches, and also confusion. And these signs are important to watch out for because they also can be mistaken for blood sugar issues and many other problems, but it's really just coming down to electrolytes. Now, you can use an electrolyte mix. You want to make sure it has no sugar in it, otherwise it'll break your fast. Or you could even put some pink Himalayan salt into your water and sip that throughout the day. I'll put a link in the description below though to my favorite electrolytes that I use. Now, next big issue that you may be doing is following a very sad diet. Yes, that's right, the standard American diet. Now, you're doing intermittent fasting for health benefits, whether that's weight loss, improving your brain health, lowering your risk of type 2 diabetes, or for other reasons. When you do this, going back to the standard American diet could undo all the progress that you're making. Eating lots of processed carbs will increase hormones like ghrelin that will leave you hungry all day long. Now, when you have your meals, you want to eat whole foods and also eat very nutrient-dense foods. Foods like salmon, steak, vegetables, berries. All these foods have tons of vitamins and minerals and won't ruin your fasting results. Now, as a side note, this is kind of interesting. In 2016, the World Health Organization reported almost 2 billion adults were overweight and 650 million were considered obese. Now, if that doesn't concern you, consider that people who are overweight pay an average of about $2,000 a year more in healthcare. See, everything in life has a paid price to action. You may have heard me say this before. Some people will complain and say, well, you know what? Eating healthy is just too expensive. Guess what? You can pay now or you can pay later. You can pay for the good food now and not have all those hospital bills in the future because you took care of yourself, or you can save money and get all the cheap food and then deal with all the hospital bills and all the suffering. Like I said, if you're overweight, you pay on average $2,000 more a year in healthcare. That's reason alone to really straighten out your intermittent fasting and your diet. Now, another problem that I see often is you're eating huge meals. Now, along with eating the right foods when you practice intermittent fasting, you also want to eat the right amount of food. When you fast, you'll experience some hunger when you're first starting out. Now, even though you may feel a little bit ravenous, you want to avoid eating huge meals because that can overload your digestive system and it doesn't make you feel well either. Eating a smaller meal will lead to less bloating and discomfort because your digestion's able to actually work properly. And I also find that bone broth is a great way to break your fast. It contains a lot of nutrients and it's really easy on your digestion. You can also include foods like eggs, fish, healthy fats, and veggies because those are also going to be great when you first break your fast. Simply make sure you don't overload your plate with too much food all at once. Now, another problem that we need to look at is restricting your calories to extremes, okay? The opposite problem that we were just talking about. When you fast, you're reducing your calories as you restrict your feeding window. As with overeating, you can also be undereating when you fast. For instance, you may start out eating 2 meals a day and eat less than you should. When you restrict your calories too much, you won't be able to have as much muscle mass because you'll slow down your metabolism. So we want to make sure that we are eating the right amount of food, not too much, not too little. Now, you could also experience a lot of unpleasant side effects from not eating enough food. You'll have things like fatigue, mood imbalances, you'll be really grumpy, right? And then also your skin will be unhealthy. So your body needs enough nutrients to remain in a healthy state. You can reap more benefits from intermittent fasting when you really dial in your caloric intake. Now, in order to make sure that you're getting enough calories, meal prepping can save you time and also help you get enough calories during your eating window. You can plan your meals and track your calories to know you're getting the nutrients that your body needs. Now let's talk about another problem that I've done many times. It's caused me to have massive headaches, and that is not drinking enough water. And this conversation really ties in with the electrolyte conversation we just had. It's very easy when fasting to forget to drink enough water. I do it all the time. I'll be fasting, I'll be seeing patients, and I'll totally have it slip my mind. If you're like most people, you're busy, and when you don't eat, you also may not take the time to drink. Guilty. This can be a big problem because it can lead to dehydration, which will make you feel bad and also cause a lot of different symptoms like dizziness, headaches, and even nausea. So the question is how much water should you drink? Well, a good rule of thumb is about 40 to 60% of your body weight in ounces. And one of the things that you can do is you can either track how much water you're drinking in an app, or you can even get one of those big jugs that actually tells you all down the side of it how much water you have drank so far that day. So that way you're getting the proper amount in. Now, another thing that I really want you to watch out for, and this is important, is not taking into consideration your medications. If you're on medications, you also want to talk to your doctor before you start your fasting plan. Some medications need to be taken with food. Some can affect your blood sugar. Fasting is healthy, but if you're taking medication in conjunction with fasting, it may alter how you feel and even cause some issues for you. So make sure you work with your doctor, because let's use, for example, if you start fasting, it's going to drive down your blood sugar. And let's say you're also taking a diabetes medication. Well, guess what will happen? It'll cause a state of hypoglycemia, which will put you into a bad place. So you want to make sure that you always know what you're doing before going into this. And whenever you're taking medication, you need to consult with your doctor on it. Now, the next thing we want to look for is using the wrong type of intermittent fasting. And I know that sounds kind of simple, but a lot of times we hear from people that they're following a particular pattern of fasting, and then we go ahead and jump on whatever bandwagon that is, and we forget that us as an individual may need something else. Now, fasting is an individual approach, and when you want to implement fasting into your healthy lifestyle, you don't automatically use the popular method that you found online or even your friend told you about. That's not always the right approach for you. You also don't have to stay with one method. There's days you can do 16-8 intermittent fasting, and on busier days, you might even want to try one meal a day. It's okay to alter your fasting style. In fact, I recommend altering your fasting style because it leads to better results. Now, the other thing is fasting while stressed. In today's world, it may be hard to imagine not being stressed, but if you have areas of your life that are causing a tremendous amount of stress, fasting could make this worse. That could be your job, it could be your family, maybe you have a health condition, so you have some physiological stress on your body. And so adding intermittent fasting to the mix could hinder your success. Now, the reason for this is because intermittent fasting is what is referred to as a hormetic stress response, okay? Meaning that it causes a physiological stress in your body, but it's a good stress. It's a stress that makes you healthier, right? But sometimes the good stress, just like exercising too much, right? That good stress, too much stress, on top of a lot of other stressors in your life can actually just deplete you and really wear you out and cause issues for you. So if you want to fast and you know you're under a lot of stress, just consider simple fasting methods, like just plain old 16-8. And even if you got to 12-hour fasting window, 14-hour fasting window, whatever you can do at that time, whatever is right for your body, that's what you should do. Because the technique that is best for you is the one that you can sustainably follow regardless of whatever else is going on around you. You can follow it day in, day out, and see amazing results. I'm Dr. Zyrowski, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Put in the comments below if you have any questions, and if you like this video, I think you'll really like this video over here next.